Dreaming Beyond Limits, how to unleash your extraordinary potential. Welcome to the BlackCEO Podcast, where we ignite minds and challenge the status quo. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that will shake you to your core and redefine what you believe is possible. We're not just talking about success, we're talking about shattering glass ceilings, defying expectations, and dreaming so big it makes your heart race. I had the incredible privilege of sitting down with Robynne Denise, a force of nature who's been rewriting the rules of entrepreneurship for over a decade. Robynne isn't just a successful businesswoman, she's a visionary who's changing the game for women, especially black women in the corporate world. Her journey is a testament to the power of audacious dreams and unwavering determination. Now, let's get real for a moment. How many times have you looked at your dreams and thought, that's impossible? Or worse, how often has someone told you to be realistic about your goals? Well, buckle up because we're about to flip that script and set your imagination on fire. Robynne Denise didn't start with a silver spoon or a hefty trust fund. She began her entrepreneurial journey with nothing but grit, determination, and a vision so big it would make most people's heads spin. And let me tell you, that vision wasn't just big, it was stratospheric. But here's the kicker. She didn't just dream, she did. And that's what we're here to talk about today. You see, dreams aren't just fluffy clouds floating in our minds. They're blueprints for our future, waiting to be constructed. But too often, especially for women, and even more so for black women, society tries to shrink those dreams. It's as if there's an unwritten rule that says, dream but not too big. Well, Robynne Denise looked at that rule and said, watch me obliterate it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sure, it worked for her. But what about me? That's exactly why we need to have this conversation. Because Robynne's story isn't just about Robynne. It's about every single one of us who's ever been told to lower our expectations or to settle for less. It's about you sitting there right now wondering if your dreams are too big, too bold, too impossible. Let's break this down. What does it really mean to dream big? It's not about fantasizing about winning the lottery or suddenly becoming a celebrity overnight. No, dreaming big is about envisioning a future that stretches you, that challenges you, that maybe even terrifies you a little. It's about seeing potential in yourself that others might miss or try to dismiss. Robynne shared a moment from her early days as an entrepreneur that perfectly illustrates this. Picture this. She's standing in a room full of investors, all men, all looking at her with a mixture of skepticism and condescension. One of them actually had the audacity to say, this is a cute little project, but have you considered something more realistic? Now, at that moment, Robynne had a choice. She could have shrunk her dream to fit their narrow expectations, or she could stand firm in her vision. Guess what she did? She looked that investor straight in the eye and said, sir, with all due respect, my dreams aren't meant to fit in your box. They're meant to create a whole new playing field. Boom! That's the kind of audacity we're talking about. But here's the thing. It's not just about having a snappy comeback. It's about truly believing in your vision, even when no one else does. Robynne didn't walk out of that room with investors falling over themselves to fund her. No, she walked out and got to work, proving them wrong one small victory at a time. This brings us to our first big takeaway. Your dreams don't need anyone's permission to exist. They're yours, they're valid, and they're possible. Say it with me. My dreams are valid, my dreams are possible. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Fear. Oh, it's there, all right. It's that little voice that whispers, what if you fail? What if they laugh at you? What if you're not good enough? Robynne knows that voice well. She told me about nights when she'd wake up in a cold sweat, wondering if she made a huge mistake. But here's what separates dreamers who become doers from those who remain stuck. They feel the fear and do it anyway. Robynne shared a brilliant strategy with me. She said, every time I feel afraid, I ask myself, what's the worst that could happen? And then I realize even the worst case scenario isn't as bad as the regret of never trying. Think about that for a second. What's really scarier? Trying and possibly failing or never trying at all? I'll tell you what Robynne thinks. The biggest failure is not giving your dreams a shot. It's living with the what ifs that haunt you in the middle of the night. This leads us to our second big takeaway. Fear is not a stop sign, it's a checkpoint. It's your brain's way of saying, hey, this matters to you. So instead of letting fear paralyze you, let it energize you. Let it be the fuel that propels you forward. Now, let's get practical. Dreaming big is great, but how do you actually make it happen? Robin's approach is both simple and profound. She calls it the dream, plan, do method. And let me tell you, it's not just catchy, it's transformative. First, dream. And when I say dream, I mean really let your imagination run wild. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What does your ideal life look like? Don't censor yourself. This is your vision, and it can be as big and bold as you want it to be. In fact, if your dream doesn't scare you a little, it's probably not big enough. Next, plan. This is where you break down that big, audacious dream into actionable steps. Robynne suggests working backward. Start with your end goal and then figure out what needs to happen right before that and before that, all the way back to what you can do today. It's like building a bridge from your current reality to your dream future, one plank at a time. Finally, do. This is the most crucial step. Take action, no matter how small. Robynne shared a story about how she landed her first big client. She didn't have a fancy office or a team of employees. She had a laptop and a coffee shop with free Wi-Fi. But every day she'd show up, reach out to potential clients, and work on her business plan. It wasn't glamorous, but it was progress. This brings us to our third big takeaway. Dreams without action are just wishes. It's not enough to want it. You've got to be willing to work for it. You've got to be willing to put in the hours, face the rejections, and keep pushing forward even when it feels like you're not making progress. But let's be real for a moment. The journey from dream to reality isn't a straight line. It's more like a roller coaster full of ups, downs, and unexpected turns that make your stomach drop. Robynne's path certainly wasn't smooth. She told me about times when she was so broke she had to choose between paying rent and buying groceries. There were moments when giving up seemed like the easiest option. So, what kept her going? Two things: her unwavering belief in her vision and her support system. Robynne emphasized the importance of surrounding yourself with people who believe in you, even when you're struggling to believe in yourself. She has a small group of friends and mentors she calls her dream team. These are the people she turns to when she needs a pep talk, advice, or just a shoulder to cry on. This points to our fourth big takeaway. No one succeeds alone. Build your dream team. Find your cheerleaders, your mentors, your accountability partners. These are the people who will help you turn your dreams into reality. They're the ones who will remind you of your greatness when you forget, who will push you when you want to give up, and who will celebrate with you when you succeed. Now, let's address something that Robynne was particularly passionate about: the unique challenges faced by women, especially Black women in the business world. The sad reality is that sometimes people will try to dim your light simply because of who you are. They might question your abilities, underestimate your potential, or try to put you in a box labeled not good enough or doesn't belong here. Robynne's response to this: shine even brighter. She shared a powerful mantra with me: I am not confined by your perception of me. She uses this as a reminder that other people's limitations are not her own. When someone tells her she can't do something because she's a woman or because she's Black, she doesn't get discouraged. She gets determined. This leads us to our fifth big takeaway. Your identity is not a limitation, it's a superpower. The very things that make you different are what make you unique and valuable. Your experiences, your perspective, your voice, they're all essential parts of your dream and your journey to achieving it. Let's pause for a moment and really let that sink in. Your dreams, your identity, your experiences, they all come together to create something absolutely unique. There's no one else in the world quite like you, which means there's no one else who can bring your particular dreams to life in quite the same way. Robynne shared a story that perfectly illustrates this. Early in her career, she was working on a project aimed at empowering young girls in underprivileged communities. A colleague suggested that maybe she was too close to the issue, that her personal experiences might cloud her judgment. Robynne's response: my experiences don't cloud my judgment, they sharpen my insight. She went on to create a program that not only met its goals but exceeded them, precisely because she understood the nuances of the community she was serving. Her background, which some saw as a disadvantage, turned out to be her greatest asset. The very things that others thought would hold her back were the things that propelled her forward. This brings us to our sixth big takeaway. Your experiences, both good and bad, are fuel for your dreams. Use them. They're not baggage, they're rocket fuel. They're not like obstacles. They're stepping stones. Now, as we start to wrap up, I want to address something crucial. Dreaming big isn't about overnight success. It's not about waking up one day and suddenly having everything you've ever wanted. It's a journey, often a long one, filled with setbacks, detours, and moments of doubt. Robynne talked about the importance of celebrating small victories along the way. She keeps a win jar in her office. Every time she achieves something, no matter how small, she writes it down and puts it in the jar. On tough days, she pulls out a few of these notes to remind herself of how far she's come. This practice isn't just about feeling good, although that's important too. It's about training your brain to recognize progress and building the resilience you need to keep going when things get tough. It's about acknowledging that every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory worth celebrating. So here's our seventh and final takeaway. Success is not a destination, it's a journey. Enjoy the ride and celebrate every step forward. Because here's the truth. The joy isn't just in achieving your dreams, it's in the person you become along the way. As we come to the end of our time together, I want you to think about something. What dream have you been holding back on? What goal have you been telling yourself is too big, too audacious, too impossible? Now, I want you to take that dream and double it, triple it, make it so big it scares you a little. Because here's the truth. You are capable of so much more than you think. Robynne Denise's story proves that. My story proves that. And your story, well, that's still being written. Remember, dreams do come true, but not by magic. They come true through vision, hard work, resilience, and an unwavering belief in yourself. They come true when you refuse to let fear, doubt, or other people's limitations define you. So here's my challenge to you. Dream bigger, plan smarter, work harder, and never, ever let anyone tell you what's possible or impossible for you. Your dreams are not up for debate, they're up for achievement. I want you to leave here today with a fire in your belly and a determination in your heart. I want you to look at the world not as it is, but as it could be, as you can make it, because that's what dreaming big is all about. It's about seeing possibilities where others see obstacles. It's about creating opportunities where others see dead ends. And let me tell you something. The world needs your dreams. It needs your vision, your passion, your unique perspective. We're facing challenges that require bold thinkers and audacious dreamers. We need people who aren't afraid to imagine a better world and then roll up their sleeves to create it. So go out there and dream. Dream so big it makes people uncomfortable. Dream so big it makes you uncomfortable, because that discomfort, that's growth, that's potential. That's the future calling you forward. And when you face setbacks, because you will remember Robynne's words, I am not confined by your perception of me. You are not confined by anyone's perception of you, including your own. You have the power to redefine what's possible, to shatter expectations, to create a new reality. As you leave here today, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise that you'll nurture your dreams, that you'll protect them fiercely from the naysayers and the doubters. Promise that you'll take action, no matter how small, every single day to move closer to your goals. Promise that you'll surround yourself with people who believe in you and your vision. And most importantly, promise that you'll never, ever give up on yourself or your dreams. Because when you dream big and act boldly, you're not just changing your own life, you're changing the world. So go forth and dream, go forth and do, go forth and become the extraordinary person you were always meant to be. The world is waiting for what only you can bring. Thank you.